Alright, what's going on, guys? GoTW Bod here. I am joined by Luke, and we are going to go through the con group stage uh, tables. We're going to have a look at each group. We're going to talk about a few matchups, who we think of are our favourites to go through the group, and who might be some dark horses, essentially. So, hey, Luke, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, not too bad on my side. Actually, pretty excited about this con. I think we've got some really good players on some good factions for once. I mean, yeah, when I'm looking at a lot of players here, maybe bar Marcus, I think everybody will be happy enough with their faction with regards to the very active players.
Honestly,
Um,
don't hate Gaul on this table. Gotta say, I think Gaul might be a sleeper.
maybe. I mean, Marcus definitely has the capability of causing an upset in Group South. But yeah, I mean, if I look at Group South, I think that each faction does have a way of beating Gaul if they're to play the game properly. But it'll be interesting to see how it does go down and how Marcus actually prepares for that because I know he might be a little bit disheartened. My thoughts actually were to go, if we're going to talk about groups, I would like to talk about the group of death first, and that would be your group. So Group West. How are you feeling about Group West? What's your kind
Um,
of key thoughts at first?
I feel okay with it because I feel like I'm pretty upset proof, but it's definitely a tough group. I would say first off that I do favor Amanda, Hammy, and myself to get through, and then like probably one of Beach or Armenian King. And not that Alan doesn't have a chance. Alan definitely has a shot to stir things up. But I would say, yeah, the top three in the group are pretty clear, but it's like top to bottom, very, very competitive.
Very competitive, yeah. I mean, once that group was announced, that was the group that shot out to me, and I was like, oh fuck. Like, there's, I mean, between you, Hammy, and Amanda, there could be some kind of wins on like any side of that. And then yeah, I mean Armenian King and BH could end up taking games off of each of you as well. Like it just depends on the game in itself. I do think I agree. I think Alan's going to struggle the most. I think that well, Hammy will roll over Alan just because of Chariot Archers. I think they're definitely OP against Spain. Not that Spain can't handle them, but I just think that Hammy will be too smart to use them stupidly, and I think that will inevitably help his outcome. Um,
Yeah, this is his best tournament, and he's got probably the strongest faction in the group. So I would say, and he's obviously like a top player. So I would say he's pretty much a lock to make it through the group.
I mean, just to clear things up, are the rules literally just you play each player once and then the top four go through? Is that the story?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we got some tricky matchups in here. I feel like I have to be careful with every single one of these factions because Thrace is the kind of faction that can just evaporate. But Amanda also has, I think, some tricky ones with Dacia in particular. I think that's kind of a tough matchup for Scythia on this table. If I were to remake the table, I would probably patch that one up.
I mean, for you, yeah. I mean, I agree that you could certainly struggle, especially against like Scythia and depending on how like with Hammy Pontus, yeah, Carthage can definitely bring a counter army to Thrace, and it can get pretty messy. But the one thing with Thrace is that you kind of know how much money you're going to have pretty much each time. So your army, I don't think is going to differ much in pretty much any game. It might differ slightly, but I think because you know pretty much what you've got, it does also give you an advantage in terms of preparation because you're kind of just refreshing the same army essentially with a few minor differences. But I imagine anyway, if like I can't speak for you, but I just imagine it's going to be the six pikes, eight cav, and six archers. But it's con, and the thing about con is everything's very unpredictable. So the numbers and tactics of each player's army is really going to depend on kind of what money they've got, and I think that's going to be the most interesting thing this con because we've got so many kind of replays and things like that to go back on and see what players have done in the past. And yeah, I mean, you just you can't foresee what people are going to do unless you've again got some kind of script that can predict army numbers and this, that, and the other. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing you, Hammy, and Amanda go against each other. I think Biatch is in form, so I feel like he can definitely steal some games, and I'm favouring him to go through in a third or fourth spot. Um, but then I don't know with Spain, like Spain can definitely steal like a few games, and yeah, I think your group's just fascinating in itself. I think it's the most fascinating group for sure, faction wise, and with you being the most on form player for many years on Thrace, it's kind of a bit like, well, yeah, you've got, well, everybody's got a good faction bar Alan, even though Spain are good. I feel like Spain, they're good under somebody that's, you know, in complete form and has been playing regularly, and he certainly hasn't. And I think that's how we can kind of agree that, yeah, he may struggle a little bit, but yeah. I mean, what's your take on what I've said so far?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be absolutely floored if Allen passed. I mean, like Carthage and Dacia are both winnable matchups for Allen, and Scythia might be a winnable faction matchup at least. I don't know about player wise, but faction wise, and I mean, even versus me, like Thrace Spain is not like the most comfortable matchup to play. I Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that he has the lowest chances. I think between Beach and Armenian King, it's going to be uh it's going to be pretty interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody out of the top 3 didn't make it, but I would be a little bit surprised.
I think that would be the general
Sorry.
consensus. That would be the general
Yeah.
consensus. Sorry to interrupt, but one thing I did want to say, who, like, if you were to pick a matchup between a certain player in Group West, what is the matchup where you think I think this player could get something, and why? Like, if you were to pick something, so if I was to say, you know, uh, Armenian King versus Amanda, I mean, I think that's a really interesting matchup. It really,
I think that matchup is very important for Armenian King's chances because um that is a favorable money table matchup, and that's probably the best shot he's going to have to upset the top 3. Not to bar the possibility that I could lose to him or Hemi could lose to him, but the table matchup isn't as favorable there.
yeah.
So I would say that's probably like the most consequential. But in terms of like which ones are going to be the most like interesting, like I'm very excited to see what happens between Amanda and Hamilcar, or like I would say like any matchups between the top 3 are probably going to be like the most interesting gameplay wise, but
Well, I think
should be interesting.
where Hammy might have an advantage over you and Amanda is the fact that Pontus has a versatility that you guys don't. I mean, you can't, for example, go heavy cav. Like, you can get your cav, but your cav are going to be what your cav are, and it's going to be your decisions in game. Whereas Hammy can opt to, take a no imp for a low level of imp, for example. But then he can equally choose to take, five pikes and, do a bit of a skirmish and yeah, depending on the chariot rule set, I think it's quite open for Hammy to pull out a surprise army, or not necessarily a surprise army, just different types of effective armies based upon the money that he's got. Whereas with you and Amanda, I mean, Amanda's just going to have pretty much the same Sifir army, but it's going to be kind of downgraded depending on the money that Amanda has. And then the same goes with like Dacia to a degree. But the only other person who's got something that's actually versatile is Biatch, and I think Carthage are pretty underrated as a faction in general. Like even outside of Con, I think Carthage are actually really good, and I think they've been underutilized in CWB, especially in team games. But I think in 1v1 they can do really well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know how to take to like react to that take because I don't know what the average person thinks Carthage is capable of, but I mean they definitely lose to like Rome. I think they lose to Macedon, like, but they are definitely solidly in that like strong tier of faction, or at least like high mid tier.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the versatility in tactics. So, I mean, you could literally just take like an inf rush with a few peasants if you wanted to, and have like pretty strong cav, like just to create a messy game, like, and then you could opt to like play defensively. Like they have a mixture of like pretty strong heavy cav and light cav, and I don't know, just depending on the player you're playing against and whatnot. I think Carthage are like they can skirmish as well. Like Carthage is a great skirmish faction if you play a really clean game. So
Especially
overall,
if you spam the Balearics. I That's what I'd be doing if I had Carthage in this Cup of Nations. I'd be taking probably probably six Balearics a lot of the time.
yeah, it would definitely be interesting. So yeah, Group West is certainly one to look out for. I'm going to be interested in seeing replays and if people even opt to upload replays in the group stage because I think a lot of people may not. But it'll be great regardless. Like I'll definitely be uh, casting some games and especially amongst like the top tier players, like 100%. I mean, Rome Tour Wars got to a point where yeah, the players are the best they ever have been to a degree. I think people need to get a little bit more active and shake off a bit of rust, but that's a different conversation altogether. Um, let's jump on to another group. I don't want to go to Group South yet. Uh, I think let's go for Group East. I think we've got a really interesting uh, kind of list of players there. Apart from John G, I'm not sure who DDB is either. I mean,
Yeah,
we can pretty much count those two out, and I'm not even sure if they'll play really. But yeah, so we've got Earth on Pontus, like his favourite faction pretty much. Sota's a good player, like on Spain, he could definitely get a few results and maybe sneak a way through. Tara on Scythia, so Earth and Tara, I'm gonna put as the two favourites to go through, and then Gamilcar on Brits. I mean, you said just previous to us recording this video that Brits have been up to bits, so it'll be interesting to see how Brits do in this con. He's the only Brits player, I think. Yeah, he is. So yeah, it'd be nice to see how he does. And then you've got Sultan on Numidia, um, and Numidia can definitely do a job against a few of the factions here with regards to the con money standings. Yeah, I think that'll suit Adnan, sorry, Sultan Adnan, whatever you want to call him. I think it could suit him. I've played a few games against him recently and he seemed pretty okay. So yeah, what's your take on Group East?
yeah. I would like echo what you said. I think that the top two and the bottom two are pretty clear, and then the middle three really could go either way. I don't think that there's a lot separating these players. I could easily see Adnan getting through, but I could also see uh, Gammy or Soder getting through, no problem. I think yeah, Terra and Earth will be playing for first position in the group, or whoever's more active. Yeah, I don't know who DDB is either, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they're a scrub. John G7, he's been playing for a while, but I don't think he's quite on that level, especially in CWB, to be challenging for one of the top four spots. But maybe he could surprise me. I mean, if there were a faction that could surprise me versus a bunch of barbarians, it would be Parthia. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, John G. It's great that he's been active and participating in games, but I think especially with Cataphracts and with the caliber of players in that table, I'm not sure that he'll be able to preserve stamina and have good enough Archer Wars to really give anybody any trouble. Um, yeah, I mean, I would expect if I'm going to pick a top four, like we've already got our top two, I'm going to say that I expect Adnan and so tough between Gamilkara and Sota. But if Brits have been upped, and I'm looking at the factions, so we're looking at Scythia, Parthia, and Numidia, I'd expect Brits to, and Spain, sorry, I'd expect Brits to grab a few games out of that, just through pure chariots and rush tactics alone. I think it could be relatively basic for Brits if done properly, and you've got to admit they've got two chariot archers as well, and you don't need to use chariot archers with Brits necessarily as chariot archers. You can use them and rest them, and then just use them as calves. So Brits hopefully will get a stronger viewing in the tournament. So yeah, I'm gonna pick those four as a result. So I do see Sota going out as a prediction, but I'm not ruling him out by any means at all.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So we're on board with that one then. Let's do North next. So we've got Ural on Egypt. Azat, I do recognise him on Parthia. I don't know who And is. Stefan on Armenia. I mean, Stefan's okay. He could definitely pull out maybe a couple of wins there. Spitfire on Thrace. I think that would be interesting. Spitfire's no fool. It'd be interesting to see how he does with the extra money. Varus on Macedon. I know that's one of his favourite factions, if not his favourite faction. And then we've got Cat on Greece. So, do you want to just run down that group North table and who you expect are the, let's just say, 1 and 2, and then who you think's going to be fighting out for third and fourth?
Yeah, well, if you had asked me before the con started or like when this group had just been made, I would have said Varus was like an easy lock to win this group, based on like form and faction. But he lost to Cat, and so that definitely like changes my opinion. Now I see it as pretty much like a seven-way toss-up. Basically, I don't really know. Like, we're all Egypt doesn't necessarily suit his playstyle because he's kind of a brute, and Egypt is kind of a finesse faction.
Yeah,
And Azat Parthia is definitely a good faction. And if he can get that rust shaken off, I think that he has potential to win the group. Um, and I haven't seen that guy in forever, so uh, I don't know. But Rome is solid, and he was at one point. I think he actually made a con final, if I remember correctly, which is odd. But then you've got Stefan, again, veteran. I think Armenia is very solid. Spitfire, probably one of the better players in the group. I'm not sure about Thrace as a faction, but um, like I would give him a shot to win the group as well. Varus, like I said, I would have picked him before he lost to Cat, and then Cat's got a head start on everybody because he's got to win. So
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think Cat winning any more than two more games is a push. I think Varus took him very lightly and perhaps should have maybe done a little bit of preparation beforehand. I think Varus probably just got caught off guard, or some Russians playing on Cat's account, which is
I don't
always
know.
a
You
possibility.
look at the factions. Like he could win. Like is it really impossible he could win like Greece Thrace? Like no, I feel like he could. Or like could he beat Egypt? I think maybe Greece is pretty well suited to beat Egypt. So I wouldn't be shocked if Cat actually passed.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's just previous knowledge of Cat's
So I'm not saying Cat is
performances.
the Michael Jordan of Rome Total War. I'm just give him a 20% shot. Well, yeah, 20% shot to pass.
So now he's beating Varus. I mean, yeah, of course he's definitely upped his chances of going through. I mean, if just looking at it, I would like. I mean, I don't know anything about And at all. Um, the fact that Varus has lost to Cat's really actually bad for him, considering the matchups he's got to play. Um, but if I was looking at a top four, I'd be looking at like Varus, Spitfire, Ural, and then I don't know. I can't split the fourth between Azat and Stefan really. I think it depends how the first few games go. But if I have to give my top four, I'll probably say say maybe And because it's just Rome, and I think you can do shit with Rome. I think they're just so reliable. If I'm just gonna throw it out there, but yeah, I don't have a clue on the fourth spot. I mean, did you even state
Me
your top
neither.
four so far?
I would just be guessing. But I think if I were to like, I honestly have no freaking clue. But maybe I don't know. I'm tempted to put both Stefan and Azad through and Spitfire and Varus. But like just because I really like cataphractions in the con. I think cataphracts are just like a very, very solid base that you don't have to have super crazy skills to like that work. And both of those guys are definitely decent. So, but yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I don't think that there's. I think it's basically going to come down to random noise in that group.
Yeah, it's the most wide open group. I think if I was in that group, I would feel supremely confident of coming top two. Like I think regardless of whatever faction I got, I'd top not whatever faction I got personally. I feel like I'll get top three no matter kind of what faction. Maybe bar a few fucking weird ones for me. I mean, I think you'd win that group no matter what the faction. Uh, I think you'd lose a game or two maybe, but yeah, I think that group's wide open.
Two? I'm not losing two games in that group. No fucking way.
Well, I think
One maybe.
I'll give you one, and then look on a bad day you could lose two. Let's not get too
Yeah,
egotistical. I
like
mean, like
maybe like the apocalypse or something. I don't know. But yeah, yeah, sure. No,
but
yeah.
no, no, I feel you. Look, I do feel you. If you were going into that group, I wouldn't expect you to lose more than once. Like, yeah, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't be totally shocked if you had a second loss because of the factions there. I think are just really interesting, and it would highly depend on what faction you had as well. So yeah, cool group. Group North, I think is anybody's group to win. And Varus losing the first game, I think Varus definitely needs to yeah take it a bit more seriously perhaps, and I think he will against the rest of the opponents that are definitely a higher tier than Cat. Group South, I think I spoke to you previously. I think this is the most evenly skilled group overall. I would say if you were
Yeah,
to
I
look
think
at
I'd
other
agree with
groups,
that.
like I think there's levels in other groups, and then I think there's Group South, and I think it's like pretty similar, like across the board. I think Marcus on Gaul's going to be great. I think he's going to have, regardless win or lose, he's going to have some really good games. Seeing as Gaul just has such a good like money factor, and he can deploy such a range of tactics with Gaul. Baldwin on Germania, I think it's going to be dangerous. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty cool. Serena's solid. Romex on Greece. I know that if he puts in a bit of practice, he'll really enjoy that because he likes the Pike factions. Nerman, as we know, is really solid, and him on Egypt. I mean, I'm favouring Nerman to go through solely based on the fact that he's got Egypt. And then me on Selly, I mean, it's one of my favourite factions, but it's going to be on whether I actually even turn up or not. Um, but yeah, what's before I have any more opinions on the group? What's your opinions overall? Like, who are you favouring? Who do you think might struggle and why? And don't hold back on me by any means, just because me and you are having a chat.
Um, okay, the way that I look at this, I first of all, I would say that I wouldn't be surprised about any combination of players passing. But what I will say is that I think my favorite to win the group is still Marcus, just because I think he's playing the best right now out of the bunch. But it's not. It's he's very narrowly my favorite, and I wouldn't really be surprised about him losing to anyone.
But that's because he's
Um,
Gaul, right? Like as much as Gaul's good, it's the fact that other if he had a different faction. So let's just say Marcus had. Let's just pull a ballpark faction. If Marcus had Macedon, you'd be pretty confident he'd win the group, wouldn't you?
yeah, but I feel like as good as Marcus is, he's not good enough to be in the tier where I get surprised when they get upset.
Yeah.
Like that's actually a very very small number of players for me. Like I think most players are capable of fucking up pretty hard. Um, so I definitely think that Marcus is capable of fucking up. It's actually not that heavily based on faction, my prediction here, because I don't think Gaul is atrocious. I wouldn't want to have Gaul personally, but from what I can tell, their results have been okay. I mean, they're like definitely in the bottom half of factions, but not. I wouldn't say. Yeah, they're not uncompetitive. Baldwin is somebody I think I would. It's tricky because Baldwin was playing okay when he was around, and um, maybe if he were active, I would be picking Baldwin to go through. And I don't mind Germania. I've actually won two cons with Germs, but
That kind of been easy.
Baldwin right now. Yeah, it wasn't. I had to rush a lot and hold my breath and hope that shit worked out, which it ended up doing. Um, Serena, I feel like I haven't seen the form recently. Like there was a run where Serena was getting pretty good results, but it hasn't seemed to be the case recently, and Serena's not as active as he was before. So I would say Serena would probably be in my not pass camp, but just barely. So I would say Baldwin and Serena. I would lean towards not passing, but again I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Romex, I would lean towards him passing just because I think Romex would like having Greece. I think he's had Pike factions a lot in the con, so he's had some practice. Romex has been active at least recently. Not if we look at a bigger time scale, he hasn't been that active, but in the last few weeks he's been active. I think he'll have a good chance against most of these factions. Uh, Nerman, I feel like if I pick him, it's just based on the name value because he was once like a household Rome Total War tournament name.
Yeah.
Of course, he's got Egypt, which is um, pretty good, but Nerman hasn't proved much in a very long time. So I would like to. I mean, he did beat Romex in the RV11, but it was went to tie breaks. Um, I need to see more from Nerman, but for now, I'll have him passing. And for you, I have you passing, but I could easily see you not passing if you fuck up. Cele is tricky. They're definitely a strong faction, but they don't get a lot of money, and so you have to be very economical. And I'm I'm my biggest concern with you is that you would end up taking builds that I think suck ass. So if you don't do that, then I would give you a good shot to pass.
Yeah. I mean, I think I need to be a bit more. I'm not going to say basic. I need to be basic and equally aggressive in the right ways with Selly. So, I mean, I mean, it's. I think every match is a hard match for me. I do fancy myself against Gaul though. I do feel like that's because Selly's got such a range of units. I'm feeling Gaul.
Yeah,
I'm
just don't get your chariot flamed. That's what I'll say.
exactly.
If you get that chariot in a nice engagement and don't blob up, you're gonna win. I think because if
Yeah,
that chariot gets in, I think the mistake that people make a lot of times is they send their chariot in with their cavalry, but it actually like ends up kind of bogging down the chariot. But I think if you just send it in alone, let it fuck some shit up, and then countercharge, you're doing pretty well.
yeah. I mean, I'm. let's not give any kind of tactics that I may pursue to take uh, in if anybody watches the video. But yeah, it's a really interesting group for me, faction wise, against every faction really, with regards to the money. Um, yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at the group, I'm gonna pick myself to go through, but I'm not picking myself to go through first. But I'm gonna pick myself, Nermin, and then I think Baldwin's going through, and I've got to pick my boy Romex, but depends what type of Serena turns up, and again it really depends on if Marcus. I think if Marcus practices as Gaul, he has a really good shot of going through, and not just going through, but coming second maybe. I don't see him coming first in the group. I just don't. I think somebody's going to show up, and I think
I kind of like Romex to win the group, honestly. He's got good, nice matchups across the board.
he has, and money wise, he has, yeah, certainly. And I think his
I actually
style,
think Gaul might be the toughest matchup for him, money wise.
I think, yeah, I agree because he'll get more. Yeah, I mean, how much money do you know that Egypt gets against Greece, and vice
I
versa?
think it's like 13-5 or something like that. Maybe 13, something in that range.
And then Greece gets roughly what, 15-5
Probably
or
15-5. Yeah, something like that. I haven't looked in a while, but that would be my guess.
yeah. See, I'd like that. I would enjoy that as Greece. Like you definitely, if you just play very well defensively as Greece, yeah, you can certainly take that. Yeah.
The thing with
Um.
Egypt is it's so strong, but like if you waste it, then all of a sudden you're in big trouble because you don't have a lot of money. So you have to be efficient with everything. And if you do any stupid shit, you're definitely not going to be feeling like Egypt is OP. Like it's one of those factions. It's only OP if the top player has it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you lose a cataphract archer with Egypt, and you are fucked. Like you're totally fucked if let's just say two Javcav catch a chariot archer and it actually routes off the map. Yeah. Um. It looks bad for Egypt, but it depends what happens again whilst that chariot archer gets done. You can also do some shit, but yeah, no, Egypt. Yeah, I think you've got to play a pretty flawless game, and you've got to be on it. But I think Nermin will be on it enough to get through the group, like I said. Um, so give your top four. I mean, you said you picked Romex to go through so far. I think you picked Nermin,
I
based upon
think
what you're
I
saying,
think
maybe. But
I think I'm going Romex, Marcus, and then you or Nerman. I don't know who would come first out of that group.
yeah, it's a tough group. It'll be good to see when it actually kicks off because I mean, so I know Varus and Cat have played so far. Who else has played like overall?
Mm, I'm not sure. I haven't checked the forum in a minute, but I think Nerman played. I think Nerman beat Serena already. That's my
Oh, okay,
recollection, but I could be wrong.
okay. Well, I mean that certainly puts Nerm in a really good position to go through. Um, I'm interested to what I'm gonna take. I really need to look at the cash table, like the updated cash table, because Uh, Egypt Selly can be interesting, but if I have an advantage enough in money, I'd be really confident in that one. Um, it'd just be a case of not
I
being
feel
too
like that one is
inconsistent.
like super underexplored. I have absolutely no idea what I'd be doing in that matchup at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all going to be based upon for me how much money Egypt has. I'll be able to work out any army that Egypt can have. Um, yeah, I mean, there's no chariot. There's no chariot limitations, is there, in that matchup at all? So
I don't think so. I feel it strikes me that Sele is uniquely ill-equipped to deal with the archer power of Egypt, though.
it is, but I think there are tactics that could be deployed to deal with Egypt under the correct kind of cash. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I mean, Egypt, yeah, if there's no restrictions on Egypt's chariots, Egypt does does look like it has a fun time against Silly. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, I think I'd certainly rather play Egypt, even like I without even knowing what the money is. I feel like almost no matter what, I'd rather play Egypt.
yeah, and I mean, unless Egypt was limited to a certain amount of chariots, which I think would kind of be
Honestly,
fair, maybe, but I don't know.
even with a
Yeah,
chariot limit, I'd be preferring to play Egypt because they have the archers to flame all of the scythes.
yeah,
I would be feeling, and unless Egypt is below like 12K, I'd be rather be playing with Egypt.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. So, with all that wrapped up, and considering people's factions, let's give a top eight prediction. I think a top eight would actually be pretty cool. So the people that are going to go through and be quarter finalists, um, we may
Okay.
as well go from 1 to 8. Um, you don't need to give really too much explanation for some players. Like I think Hammy as Pontus being one. I mean, I think Earth as Pontus should get top eight as well. But I'll let you go first. That's just me kind of saying we don't need to speak for ages on certain players, but then we can maybe speak a bit more on others that maybe kind of wild cards with their faction and kind of the money that they have available.
Yeah. Okay. To me, I think the top five is pretty inarguable. I don't see how you could have a different top five than this, which is going to be the Westies, Amanda, Hamilcar, and myself, as well as Easties, Terra, and Earth. And I don't really see, yeah, I don't see anyone else even having a claim to be in the top five.
I
But
agree with that. I do agree with that. Yeah, I mean, faction wise, just because of your tournament form and the fact that I think you'll be actually super strong on Thrace, like considering the money and everything. I think that top five, yeah, is solid. Uh, who are you actually? So I think it's fair enough to say that it would be it would be a fail if Earth didn't come in the top eight. So I think we have like I think after the top five, which you'd totally expect, I think you have to throw Earth in there because he's got Pontus. So that
wait, I said I put Earth in my top five, by the way.
oh you did. So what? So it's you,
Yeah, I said
Hammy,
Amanda, Hammy, myself, Terra, Earth.
oh and
That's five,
Earth.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Then let's go to six then. Who?
Um, and by the way, that wasn't in order. I don't know who. I don't know what the order would be out of those five. But I would say that the Westy players are a little more consistent than the Easty players. I like. I don't know. After that, it feels very, very equal. Like I could see it being Varus. I could see Romex getting there. I could see you getting there. I could see Nerman getting there. I could see Adnan getting there. I could see. Did I say Marcus, Beach, Armenian King? All those people feel like they're about equally well situated to get top eight. Um,
But if you had to pick,
so in my opinion,
no. But let's no. We have to pick.
fine.
We have to pick. We're doing top eights, and I'll do
Okay.
my top eight.
So
So
what?
we
So what I
agree.
get? I get
We agree
three
on five.
picks.
Yeah. You get
Okay.
three picks, and we
Okay.
agree on five, and I'll do my three picks after.
I'll take Adnan because I think he's been on a grind, which is like what I like to see. And I think Numidia, not a great faction honestly, but it has decent chances to. It's very solid, I would say. Um, and then maybe Romex and Marcus. Yeah.
I feel that. I mean, Marcus, just due to tournament gameplay and results, I think that's fair enough. Adnan, like you said, has been on the grind, been pretty good. I still
If I
think
weren't if I weren't very worried about Varus and his group, then I would have put Varus in there. But since he's 0-1, I just feel like the odds moved a little bit.
See, that's where I'm sitting with Biatch. So if Biatch wasn't in Group West, I'd be considering him to go through into the top 8. But because he's in your group and anything can happen in your group, I mean, if he gets through, then I think he's got good chances. But I'm not necessarily going to pick him because I feel like I can see 3 players in your group 100% going through. I think he's got really tough matches up against you guys, so I'm only not going
But
to
I
pick
have
him for that
absolutely
reason.
zero confidence in anyone outside of my top 5. Like, none.
And I'm pretty much the same. I think it's who actually turns up. I'm going to say outside of the top 5, and I'm going to be completely honest with this one. Uh, I see Baldwin if he actually turns up. I see Baldwin could. I think he could do it. I think Nermin can be my second pick, and then my third pick. My third pick kind of floats between Adnan, me, Ural, Azat, and then I don't really know and then maybe and then Spitfire and Varus. I mean, you could pick any of us to go top 8 there, but I have to pick a last one. I'm gonna have to go with myself, even though
I
I
knew it.
can't
I
pick.
fucking knew you were
Look,
going with yourself. Yeah.
I can't fucking pick between any of them, and because I can't pick, you've got to back yourself.
Tiebreaker goes to yourself.
It,
Yeah.
I, I,
Uh,
I don't like. I really didn't want to pick that biasly, and obviously I have, but it's not a biased choice. It's because I actually can't pick between for my last pick in the top 8. I've got to roll myself because if I don't roll with any confidence into the tournament, that's fucking ridiculous. So I'll pick myself as the last pick, but again, I think we've got it really spot on. I think we're pretty. I think we're very close-minded in how we see, yeah, it getting through to that stage. But I think in terms of it going through, like if I'm gonna pick where it goes further from there, I see in a semi-final. So if I'm gonna pick a top 4, I could see Amanda Hammy. I kind of have to pick you as well, because Thrace is gonna definitely be okay with you with regards to having the superior money. And then as a fourth pick, I'm going Tara. And then the final, fuck knows from there. So top 4 is, yeah, you, Hammy, Amanda, Tara, and then you can't really pick a finalist there. It's going to be very, I think the semi-finals will be great games if that's what happens. I presume your top 4 is going to be the same, maybe substituting Tara or Earth. And then Earth also could be a substitution for either you, Amanda, or Hammy, depending on if he actually turns up with Pontus. I think that's pretty
yeah,
fair
my
to say.
feeling is that I would actually have the lowest chances if that were the final 4, just because of my faction. But I also feel like I'm the least likely to get upset in groups, just because like I have the consistency against like mid level players,
Yeah, I mean, you could.
which I can't say about Earth. Like I feel like yeah, if Earth gets a direct head-to-head matchup, Pont versus Thrace against me, I think he's got very solid shots to eliminate me. Maybe he's a favorite, but I can definitely see Earth getting bounced in round 2. Whereas I know that I won't get bounced in round 2. Like I'm going to be in the knockout phase.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I'll tell you what, finally to wrap things up, pick your one wild card. I feel like I know what
Wild
you're gonna
card.
say, but yeah, if you have to pick
Wild card.
your one wild card player to go far, not to win, but to go far, and yeah, basically just cause a bit of mayhem.
I mean, I'd probably pick. And honestly, I think I might pick Nerman because if Nerman has like if he's like top form Nerman with Egypt, that's pretty nuts. Like that would be a pretty good faction player combo. I don't really believe in wild cards though. I think that absolutely somebody could get deep into the Cup of Nations who isn't a big name. Like it wouldn't even surprise me if fucking I don't know, like pick any fucking player, and if it's not like Cat or John G7, I'd be okay. I wouldn't be that surprised if they're in the final, even like four. Um, but I would be very surprised if anyone outside the top five actually won the con.
Okay,
I'd say
and
like Nerman, Adnan, maybe you actually could be. If we're talking about like a high volatility player, be you. Maybe Varus. I feel like this. I don't know.
yeah,
Beach. I don't know.
you could exactly you could speculate for days. I actually thought you were going to pick Marcus as your wild card. I don't know why. Just to go far, not to win. But
I mean, he could. I mean, again, I think he's. If we talk about the person who's playing the best right now outside of the favorites, it could be Marcus, maybe. Um, I don't really know. I feel like Marcus seems to be really consistent versus people that are not me. Like whatever for whatever reason, the me matchup seems to be pretty hard for him, but everybody else he does okay. So I wouldn't be shocked if he avoids me. He could get pretty deep in the tournament.
yeah, fair play.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna, as a wild card, I'm gonna pick Biatch. Um, if he can get through your group, I'll pick him as just as my wild
yeah.
card as a person that could go pretty far. But I do
The
agree with you,
Armenian King
Herman.
could actually do it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, anybody can. So
Yeah.
very last words on it. Pick your favorite. So there's no, we're not talking about well this or that person. You have to just say your favorite without any, well, no, your favorite with explanation. But you can't sit there and say, well, but this person. Like, who's your favorite and why?
Um, uh, shit.
Cool, yeah.
Probably Amanda. I like I think Scythia's good, and I think Amanda's really good, and it could be yeah. I would say close second would be Hammy,
Ah, look,
and
I said don't do this. I said don't do this. You
I
picked
said
Amanda.
second, right? I'm not being I'm being unequivocal. I'm saying Amanda favorites, Hammy second, me third, Earth and Terra can share fourth.
Yeah. Okay, fair play. Well, I'm not gonna do the first and seconds. I'm literally gonna pick my favorite and hmm. Oh, this is hard actually. Um, I really don't even like to say it.
You're picking Earth, aren't you?
No, fuck, am I picking Earth? No way. No offense to Earth. No, I'm not. I don't think he'll have the steal. I think that Earth could easily get through to the semis or the final, but I just think history shows that.
He does seem to have the point where it gets a little too hot for him, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah, I agree. I think Earth's got a huge skill ceiling. I just think certain games, maybe it's his mindset and shit going on in
Maybe
life.
yeah.
Who knows? I'm picking Hammy to win. I'm picking Hammy to win it. If he actually plays, I haven't seen Hammy enough, but under
Yeah.
Pontus, I just think Hammy's got just the basic kind of skill set. Like not basic, but like he just has the core fundamentals to use that faction and actually win. But
I feel like
yeah,
if I had seen more Hammy form recently, then I would probably give him more. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's my number two, but like I haven't seen Hammy play the tournament in like a year, so we need
yeah.
to see that.
So it'd be interesting, but he will definitely warm up before the tournament, I presume. If he doesn't,
Yeah,
fair enough. But
my
um,
main reason for giving him onto the head to head is just because of their like RV11 result, and I feel like you know that makes sense. I guess I don't know.
I mean,
But
for
I feel like you're sleeping on me, Loki. I mean,
it's solely a faction thing.
Yeah. Well, I
It
won with
is.
Spain. I won with Germania. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Look, like I'm just throwing it out. It's
Yeah.
just because higher tier players on Pontus. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have like I would kind of sit there and as much as said I wouldn't go further. Fuck it, I will. I mean, I do see Amanda and Hammy being one and two maybe, but then I give three to Tara. I just think you're
Yeah.
gonna fall
You're
short,
gonna regret.
dude,
You're
dude,
going
dude,
to
dude.
regret.
I
I
fucking hope so.
promise
Look,
you,
look,
I'm
look, look.
getting.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I just see that there's a possibility that you get
Top
drawn.
three, I'm a lock. Okay.
Dude,
If
you
if I get worse than third,
go on.
you let me have it. You know. Just be like, this
I'll,
guy's a fucking bum. All right.
I'll fucking I'll do a Luke's a bum video 100%. But third, I'm giving to Tara. I think I think that Tara actually could replace Hammy and could end up one and two with Amanda. But then yeah, let's see what you shows up. I mean, you're gonna prepare like fuck, so I think I've been pretty harsh to you. But I think yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be
That
interesting to
was
see.
all I needed,
I'm
man.
super harsh to you. I've been super harsh to you. Um, but I'm just throwing that out there, and then yeah, I mean, let the games commence. I think the group stage in itself is going to be a fucking war. I think everybody needs to save demos and upload the good games. Like nobody's interested in any whitewashes, but if there's any close games, get your demos uploaded, send them across to me or Luke or anybody else that casts games in CWB. So, I mean, Hammy did, and I imagine seeing as he hosts con, he might do a few if they're really good. Um, there's nobody else really that casts, is there? Like that actually puts games up. So maybe Marcus. Marcus would definitely consider some good games. I presume he'll just be uploading his games. It's more his style. But yeah, if you have any good games, send them across by all means. For now, I feel like me and Luke have spoken through pretty much everything. Um, I know Luke's a bit upset with me discounting him from top three.
Ah, no, no, I'm not
Um,
upset. You're gonna be upset, okay?
look, if you deserve it, all I want is the most deserving player to win the tournament. And I think that's a good attitude to have. I haven't really got much bias. I'd love a GOTW player to win it, like obviously. But I want the
Hey, you
best.
got. I mean, Tara's got a shot. Beach has got a shot. You've got a shot. I think it's
Romix has
like
got
it
a
wouldn't be
shot.
crazy.
No,
Romex has got a shot.
all
Forgot
of
about Romex.
GOTW have a shot. Like you can't just sleep on us in this tournament.
Nah, nah, yeah.
That would be
Especially
stupid.
with the way the factions shook out, I wouldn't be terribly shocked.
Yeah, it's the best chance
But
that GOTW's had in years. So big up GOTW. Like I'm definitely rooting for the boys, and don't worry, we'll be
yeah, it'd be
preparing
cool if
for
you guys
games.
got into the top four. That'd be. I mean, you got top eight last time. Tara got top eight. So
Who I did.
no, Tara did.
I was gonna say, fuck me, I didn't like.
Wait,
I haven't
was
played the
that
tournament.
last time? Hold on.
Tara
Yeah, I
should
think
have
so.
last time. He should have for sure.
Yeah, he did. He got top eight because he was one of only two players to beat me in the tournament, but I beat him twice. I wasn't like he didn't win the series, but he beat me in Baldwin, beat me in a game, and then other than that, went undefeated. But Hammy made the final. Hammy's been really consistent in the cons. That's one of the reasons he's in my top two. Is out of me, he's made the most con finals um, of anyone here.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of picked him as my number one. Although I half feel like I'm regretting it already because I feel like he hasn't been active enough. But let's see how he shows up. I've said what I said. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna pick Hammy. But I've got a sneaking suspicion Tara could really fuck some shit up here if he takes it seriously. And I think Tara definitely has the biggest shot outside of Group West to win the tournament. Um, I'd say that for sure. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's leave it there. I'd like to do another video of you in let's just say a week or 2 weeks about what we were discussing earlier with regards to the future kind of ranking systems or whatever with regards to Rome Total War. And yeah, it'd be good to just do like a little 10-minute video explaining exactly what you're going to do with that. So if you get back to me and let me know your finalized decision.
Yeah, it's really what Varus is doing because he's making all the decisions. I'm not. I'm just giving him the data, and he's making of that what he wants. And actually, the data's public, so if anyone wants to do Rome Total War rankings, they can do that on their with their own system.
Yeah, sweet. Well, maybe we do a three-way call with Varus, and he can explain what he's doing, and we can. Well, I've got plenty of questions like I had for you earlier, and what I thought might be cool, and you seem to be really receptive to what I was saying, and yeah, I think it'll be a good announcement for the community. So let's wrap things up there because I can feel my voice going. If you got this far, thanks for listening, and yeah, good luck to everyone in con. I hope it's a really good tournament. Please do show up because this is the most interesting con if everybody shows up in a little while, maybe. I just think in terms of all players and the skill level, I think it's great, and I think the factions are pretty awesome across the board. So, yeah, tying it up there, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you with an upload in about 2 weeks or so. All right, take it easy.